I don't like always coming on the show and being absolutely petty. But today I have an urge to be a little bit petty, considering the fact that the University of Colorado and the head coach's son, who is the quarterback, decides to be petty. Yeah, we might talk on that to open up in a Rufino's Rants. Not only that, we do got some LSU stuff we need to talk about, but I warned you. And I think a lot of people warned you, and yet the NCAA doesn't continue to do anything about it. The spring portal is continuously open. Today it closes. Actually, and we got to talk about the portal when it regards or comes to LSU. We will do that tonight. Defensive tackles continue to be on the menu. Who will you get or who can you close on? We'll touch on that as well. But the NCAA continues to allow tampering. Oh, but Blake, they keep getting shot down in court. But there is one thing that they can go after. There is one thing that they can go after. If a player goes into the portal, newsflash, if you think that there's tampering, you can go after and see if that player was tampered with. Like it, Blues Clue. I mean, it's like a Blues Clues clue. We just got a letter. Wonder who it's from. Tampering. That's who sent you the letter. All right. But people don't care because normally their schools tamper, so it doesn't really matter. So we'll touch on that a little bit too. So LSU portal, Shedeur Sanders being what the opposite of a leader is. We'll touch on that. And the NCAA being absolutely Rudy Poo as they continue to be. What LSU baseball must not only do tonight, yes, I know that they have a game tonight. That's why we're live here at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time than our normal time, and we got some things going on. I told you we won't be doing the midweek shows when there is a game, and we've had to shift some times here in the spring. We'll be back to 7 soon, and we missed last weekend's post games. We will be picking those up for Texas A&M. So a lot going on. So we'll talk about LSU baseball, recruiting update, not only portal, but mainly what I'm hearing on the high school ranks as well. We'll get into that. I also see this that also could have probably been a rant as well. I see a lot of people posting that the Saints got an A+ draft grade. Says whom? Yeah. If you get an A+ draft grade, that means that this team should make the playoffs because you have instant impact starters right now. I don't know. We'll touch on that as well. And we missed this yesterday because we did get Carter the Power Bryant to join us yesterday. So what we will do here is we will field your thoughts, questions, concerns. Looking forward to that. Rob Boudreaux says, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good, sir. Lance says, good afternoon, Blake. Tell me something good, bro. Well, if I wanted to tell you something good, I would say that you're still in the hunt for 2 defensive tackles. The question is, and what we've said since the portal opened, and I've told you this every single day, you got to close. You got to close. That's it. I gave you my opinion. You didn't like my opinion? Okay, not Lance, but just people in general. They didn't like the opinion, but you got some things that you got to fix. You need to fix it now, and I think that you will be able to do that. Michelle Henderson says, hello from Lincoln, Georgia. Good to have you in here. Where is Lincoln, Georgia? We will be taking a vacation to Woodstock, Georgia in May. My niece Morgan is graduating, and so we'll be in Woodstock, Georgia in May to see some family. So looking forward to that. Very, very much looking forward to that. She says near Augusta, Georgia. How about that? Beautiful place. Georgia's very beautiful. And you know what? Here is a Here is a pet peeve of mine. I go to other states, and even more northern part of this state that I live in. Just how clean it is. You know, can people stop throwing their damn trash out the window when you're driving? Like, show some respect. Stop being lazy. Don't throw trash out the window. I will tell you, if I see you throwing trash out the window, me and you're going to have some words. I don't care. Like, it's trashy. Literally. Stop being an asshole. But Woodstock's a very, very clean place. So is Georgia. They care about their state. Maybe we should care about ours. Jay says, I live in Woodstock. That's pretty cool. Yes, we will be up there. Big time high schools up there in Woodstock, Georgia. Travis Dyson says, Rufino, that is me. At least that's the biblical name that the government gave me. But I do like my last name. It comes with a couple of wines. Maybe you've seen it in your local supermarket. So, yes, that is me. Good to have you in here, Travis. Van Bennett says, I live in Cumming, Georgia. Well, first off, pause. Second off, awesome, where is Cumming, Georgia? That is a hell of a place to be living in. Hell of a place. Travis says, pick up a DT while you're out there. Hopefully we can. Yes, where is everybody listening to from today? And if you're just listening, you couldn't catch us live, you're re-listening to it, where are you watching from? We put it inside the comments right now. Where are you listening to us right now? Rodney Krabs says, come visit Colorado. I can hook you up. Hook me up with some THC, some gummies. I have a really good relationship with our good friends over at Relief Med. You going to hook us up with some gummies? If I come to Colorado, it's for two things. It's number one, to tell Shedeur Sanders he needs to start acting like a leader instead of like a dumbass. And secondly, it is mainly to get some weed. Bottom line. I mean, what else is there to do in Colorado? Even though I heard Colorado is really beautiful. I hope, and somewhere in the next 5 years, I hope. Here is a goal of mine. So a lot of you listen to the show. If you have somewhere like in Montana that you can hunt, and if there's some elk out there, come on, bro, hook your boy up. I'm a great guest. I clean up after myself. Clyde says he's in Petersburg, Virginia. Good to have you in here. Wade McBride says he's in Silver, Louisiana. The 337. Yes, where I got to admit, I see a lot of these debates. About who has the best food in Louisiana. Represent your area code, dog. Rob Boudreaux says, Blake, I have a lawn service. So we definitely need to do something about the trash here. I see a lot everywhere. Yes, we need it. We need to do look, it's a very big pet peeve of mine. I'm dead serious. I've never been more serious about anything in my life more than this. I mean, pick up after yourself. Stop being a dumbass. It's laziness. It's foolish. Have some respect for yourself. Like, it's not that difficult. It really, really, really isn't that difficult not to throw trash out the window. It's a freaking shame. Melissa, she says she's in Tallahassee. Good to have you in here. We got Walker, Louisiana, says Travis. Van Bennett says Cumming is in Forsyth County next door to Alpharetta. Okay. How about that? I have no idea where any of those are. But good to have you in here, Van Bennett. Nevertheless, thank you for joining us, bud. Charlie Viator, what's up, man? Says, are any D linemen about to pop and commit? I think that they are, but the question is, are they going to commit to us? We will talk about that. Dustin Brown says it's a hefty ticket if you're caught. Well, I really do. I really, really do hope that, and I hope people start getting more of those tickets. Like, clean up after yourself. I did not expect this conversation to go this way. But here we are. But, I mean, Georgia is very clean. The northern part of the state is very clean. You know, I'm going to pick up my son today, and needless to say, there's trash all over the interstate. All over the interstate. Clean it up. And then, you know, they start asking you questions when you're out there and cleaning it up. You know, I really do wonder if Ben ever got punishment, I might get him to pick up trash on the side of the road. You know, because I don't know. I don't know. I legitimately hate it. All right, one more, then we got to get rolling. Rodney Kraft says, what's Blake talking about either regarding tampering? Well, I'm glad you asked because that's what we will talk about in the leadoff. You need to hear it. I need to hear, or I need to say it. You need to hear it. We need to talk about it. So we'll do that next. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share to all those groups. So many of you on Facebook, over 1 million views in the month of April. Thank you so much for doing that. If you haven't done so already, like the page, follow us on Facebook, Are You Serious Sports Network. Hit the like button and share. Share to all those groups. Share to all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you're listening to podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe. So about our good friends at Bet Online. Good buddy who's killing it right now. Guys, I tell you, Tyler Alexander is easily coming up close to being the number one realtor inside the state of Louisiana. You need a home. You need to call him. Let's talk about him. They're good friends over at J&J Exterminator. Lots we got to talk about. Let's get to it. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah. We're back.
That we are. Let's get this thing rolling, y'all. Let's get this thing rolling, y'all. So very, very, very quickly, I know that you want to talk about some LSU football. We are getting to that right now. Stay with us. But I got to go on a little tangent. I've already talked about the tangent that I have when it comes to throwing trash out the window. That's neither here nor there. We got some college football that we need to talk about. I have told you over and over and over again that there is something that the NCAA can do when it comes to the transfer portal, not necessarily NIL, but specifically just the portal. And I'm going to use this young man as an example. Now, he's not the only one. There's thousands and thousands of kids, or maybe not thousands, but hundreds and hundreds of kids that have entered the transfer portal not only in the spring window, not only in the winter window, and not even just this year, but over time, there have been players that have entered the portal that have 3 little words attached to their name when they enter. Do not contact. Now, Peyton Woodyard is a DB that was at the University of Alabama, and he went to the portal yesterday, and he had those 3 little words, do not contact. Now it's being reported that Peyton Woodyard is slated or favorable to go to the University of Oregon. I have no issues with the kid going to the University of Oregon. This isn't a slight at the University of Oregon whatsoever. And most fans don't care about your team tampering or their team tampering, because if it benefits them, well, it makes our team better. I understand that the NCAA has gotten a lot of issues and things that have happened against them recently. They've gone to court multiple times, and they've gotten their ever-living ass kicked. But there's nothing stopping them that a court or a legal court can necessarily do when it comes to guidelines in the NCAA that would stop them from investigating tampering. What is somebody going to do? Sue for tampering? It's against the guidelines. It's against the guidelines not only of the NCAA, but not only them, but the conference that they're in as well. See, if this is the issue that I've always had when it comes to the portal, if conferences in the NCAA really, really, really wanted to stop things, you know what they would do? They would go after teams for tampering. But you know what? All those coaches that you listen to every fall and even during spring practice, all those administrators, commissioners, whoever it may be, they don't want things to change the way that you think that they do. Now, maybe they do want some guidelines, and maybe they want the federal government to do it because it's out of their hands, and they could say, hey, guys, I didn't do anything. But what happens when your team is the team that's getting tampered with, or a player on your team is the one being tampered with, and they leave? You know, I remember when Ed Orgeron was fired, and before Brian Kelly was announced, you know, players were hitting the portal and going to teams inside their own conference. I think Eli Ricks was a very good example. Where did he wind up going? Oh, that's right, the University of Alabama. Are you 1,000% sure that Nick Saban didn't tamper with him? Oh, I'm not trying to assume anything, because you know what happens when we assume? We make an ass out of you and me. The bottom line is, and I will continue to tell you this isn't just a football-related issue. This is a basketball-related issue. This is a baseball-related issue. This is a hockey-related issue. This is a track-related issue. This is a gymnastics-related issue. All of sports and college athletics have had individuals that have been tampered with. And quite honestly, if you don't like the NCAA investigating tampering, well, you need to get over yourselves, or you're a part of the same exact problem that everybody else has said that they have about it's not the good old days. I don't really care if a kid wants to go in the portal and transfer. Let's not be naive enough to think that there's nothing that can't be done. See, I told you and still stand on this. I hope players get paid. Now, there are deep discussions. Pete Thamel reported yesterday. There are very, very deep discussions about players being able to get TV revenue. Now, it's not final, but he says there's deep discussions. You know, we probably, and I told you this a month and a half ago when we reported on this, we should have known something was up when Caitlin Clark and Fox were in negotiations about her coming back to Iowa, and when they were offering her TV revenue money. Maybe we should have taken a hint if that's the way that they were going to go. But if you think that this doesn't make things crazier, then you're wrong. See, here's the most naive thing that no one wants to tell you. And you know, and you're seeing how the sausage has been made, and now you don't like it. Because players and boosters are still going to be having conversations about how much money they're going to get to go to your school. You can't stop it. I can't stop it. The NCAA can't stop it. Nobody can stop it. By the way, if you really believe that these top premier programs, LSU included, are not involved in doing these kinds of things, you're an idiot of the highest order. I've been asked this so many times. So many times. Blake, what would be the first thing? And it's more on the Ruffino and Joe show because we just focus college football. But a lot of those people ask in the comments, Blake, what would be the first thing that you would do if you were the commissioner? You know what? I am leaning so closely. Actually, there's two things I'd do. Number one, probably hire Josh Pate as my VP. Okay. Secondly, the second thing I would do is start a division to start going after schools that are tampering. If you want to get things back right, you can do it. And I think it's a lazy excuse. Three lazies. Oh, well, there's nothing they can do. That's bullshit because everybody falls under the same guidelines from the conference that they're in and the NCAA where it says that you can't tamper. I would love for a player to go and sue their own conference that they're in. Please, dear Lord, do it. See what's going to happen. I get to a place where I continue to ask myself, and I understand, as Pete Thamel reported, there are so many different things that are going on behind the scenes. Players look like that they're about to get some TV revenue money here. And I'm happy for them in that. They deserve that. There is back pay that they're going to have to pay. I love that for the players. What I don't like is when people tell me that there's nothing that can be done and people sit on their hands. That's pretty much it. You know who's not sitting on their hands, though? Let me say one final thing because I saw this out of the corner of my eye. Van Bennett says cap NIL. You can't cap NIL. I'm sorry, you can't. You will never, ever be able to cap it because the first time that you do, and a player like I don't think people understand. You would have to go back to the Supreme Court to get that. To get the O'Bannon case reversed. It's not happening. They can say, well, a school can pay as much as X and let the schools be a part of it. But there is nothing at the current moment, nothing. I would get rid of collectives. 1,000% get rid of collectives. You know what, university? You're getting a lot of TV revenue money. Title IX's got to be a thing of the past when it comes to college athletics. Sorry, the sports that don't make money, you're going to have to cut because football players have taken too much of making all the money and it going to everybody else. It's not fair to them. You will never cap NIL. There's not a cap in the NFL when it comes to commercials and things that they can do. They say that there is. But every time I turn around, Travis Kelce's on a new commercial. He's on State Farm. He's on Burger King. He's on Pfizer. He's on what was the other one that he was on? Because it was him and his brother. Campbell's Chicken Soup or whatever it's called. No, it's not Campbell's Soup. What's the soup? Michael Strahan was a part of it all the time. Chunky's or whatever it is. Chunky Soup. Like how some people like their women. Chunky. I need to stop. You're not going to cap it. You know who hasn't been staying still? That is our boy Deion. Let me start off by saying this because I want to make it very well known where I stand on this. Because it's going to be misconstrued. We're going to get to LSU in just a minute. Stay with me. Stay with me here. Let me bring this up. In case you missed it, over the last, couple of hours, Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders came out and posted something that was very interesting. Now, I'm going to read it to you here, and can we bring this up on screen? Here it is right here. This is something that was from The Athletic yesterday that now Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders has now taken it upon himself to respond to. Let me scroll down because The Athletic spoke with a former Colorado player, Xavier Smith. His comments were, I was actually getting mad, like tears coming to my eyes because, bro, you never even tried to get to know me. This coming on Deion Sanders recommending Smith to hit the transfer portal like many others. He would go on to say he was destroying guys' confidence and belief in themselves the way he did it. It could have been done with a little bit more compassion. That was Xavier Smith, who played at Colorado. But interesting enough, Shedeur Sanders, who is now the son of head coach, or is the son of head coach, Deion Sanders, took to Twitter himself and says, I own, meaning I don't even remember him, to be honest, TBH. Bro had to be very mid at best. Let me say something very quickly to Shedeur Sanders. That is not how leadership is conducted. Now, what's going to happen is, because I'm sure the team will clip this, I'm going to get abused when we clip this and it goes out and everybody talks about it. Shedeur Sanders is continuously proven that he's not a leader. I told you some of the reasons why I didn't like Caleb Williams and why I like Jaden Daniels over Caleb Williams. Oh, he must be mid. Well, that's interesting because I remember a Colorado game last year when the Buffs played the Ducks, Colorado versus Oregon, and Shedeur Sanders went 23 of 33 for 159 yards and a touchdown. Against the best team you played, you were below mid. Now, I think you're a really good player, but it's interesting, man. The way and where college football is going, to see Shedeur Sanders say something so stupid and ignorant and asinine, well, leaders lead by example. As the quote I always say on this show, leadership or attitude reflects leadership, captain, from the great movie Remember the Titans. If your attitude is like this, your team is going to struggle and fail. That kid is not you. He might not have the same ability. Hell, he doesn't have a daddy that played in the NFL. But over and over and over and over again, I continue to see negativity coming out of Colorado. If this were anybody else, Deion Sanders in Colorado would be thrown underneath the bus for not only how they're building their program, but how they're treating players. I'm bringing my luggage. It's called Louis. Well, you're about to bring another 4-8 season if you're not careful, because your culture is not good enough. In case you have missed it, Colorado is having massive issues because they're telling players to hit the door. I got to be real with you. It is the wildest thing that I've ever seen. But because it's Deion, we think it's cool. Quite honestly, it's a joke. And if Kirby were doing this, if Brian Kelly were doing this, if Dabo Swinney were doing this, if Lincoln Riley was doing this, if Fran Brown at Syracuse was doing this, it would be a national story every single day. But because it's Deion, we think it's just prime time. Prime doesn't care about your kids. He cares about himself. So, there it is. All right. We do need to get to some LSU stuff. I will here get to some of your questions, thoughts, and concerns. Travis says he's taking notes from Prime. Blake, he is following his daddy. Have you seen the way that they buried Carmani? Let me stop right there very quickly to Travis's comment. Are we 100% sure that Carmani McClain was in the wrong here? You know, you have former players talking about how Deion Sanders treated them. Then you have Shedeur Sanders quote tweeting saying the kid was mid because he said that the way that it was done was not professional. It's basically what he's saying. But yet everybody wants to talk about Carmani. Deion wants to go to the press and say, well, Carmani doesn't practice well enough. Well, you don't build a culture good enough. You're letting kids hit the door because you think something about them. Oh, they're late, you leave. They're late. Well, your son was late in the Amazon Prime video that I saw. Ironically, it's called Amazon Prime. And you sat him. But I know for a fact that you've kicked players off for less. Son missing practices so they can go do NIL deals. Are you doing that for everybody? More than the NFL, culture has to be established. Everything that's going on in Colorado proves to me that Carmani McClain might not have been in the wrong here. ION. Even remember, dude, he must have been mid. Meanwhile, you're going 22 of 33 against Oregon, and you're not leading your team like the top premier quarterbacks have done. You know, it's interesting. When Jaden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy winner, got to LSU, they were going through something very serious where they only had 39 scholarship players. Do you think that he whined, moaned? Oh, do you think that that's what he was doing? Oh, he was probably mid. No, he put his head down and went to work. See, this is going to get clipped, and I'm telling you, I don't like where they're going. All right, couple more, then we got to get to some LSU stuff here. Rodney Kraft says it doesn't mean more here in Colorado. I don't know what that means. But he also says Sanders is a fraud. He will not make it here. He's a religious hustler. I don't know about religious hustler. I don't know about that. What I do know is you got to be able to care for kids. And it seems like he only cares for 3. I mean, if we're just being honest. Oh, by the way, this is just the start of all this. You're going to be stupid tired of him or hearing about them because of how much ESPN and Fox are going to promote it. So, yeah. Chris Lomax says, Blake, where did you get that mug? I have no idea. I have this one, and I have a purple one that my wife got me, my loving wife, Megan. Let me tell you, man, these things have helped because I drink a lot more water now. By the way, your boy's down 27 pounds on this carnivore diet. 27 pounds, man. I'm telling you. Y'all need to look into it. Now, I know a lot of people have issues with it. I have never felt better in my life as of right now. And by the way, I got to tell you, guys, you know that I wear hats. I mean, literally, I do it every single show. I've never in my life had better hats than the Melon hats. Stay tuned next week. This is the most comfortable hat I've ever worn in my life. And the white and the black going along with the shirt, looking clean. Got the fresh fade, fresh beer cut. I'm telling you, man, it is by far, though, the best hat that I've ever worn. Okay. We got some LSU stuff we got to get to here. Let me do this before we get to that. We got some defensive tackle stuff we need to talk about, some recruiting we need to talk about, and I need to go on one more little tangent about offensive line. We will do that next. Let me get to a very quick break. We'll come right back. We'll talk about those DTs. We will talk about recruiting, and we'll talk about the LSU offensive line, something you might be missing in reference to that offensive line. We do that next. Stay with us.
Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements.
By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
All right, let's get rolling here. Do have something into the text line here very quickly. It's from Darren. Darren says, Blake, what do you think about Colorado in their record next year? I think you misspelled record a couple times. I'd have to go and look at their schedule. I'm not sure. I do like Shedeur as a prospect. I think his leadership skills is ass. I think he needs to work on some things. I think when something breaks down, he literally, and we have film of this, literally, how do I want to say this? Points the finger and blames everybody else. I don't think that is good for anybody. Okay? So I don't know. I'd have to look at their schedule, but they are in the Big 12. It could benefit them very well. Let's talk about some LSU stuff, and specifically this LSU defensive tackle situation that LSU continues to go after. So LSU has had some, and now is still hosting, some interior defensive linemen from the transfer portal. We've talked about Simeon Barrow. We have talked about Demonic Williams. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing his first name. Here's what I know and what I still believe at the current moment. I do think that you're in a battle, and this is something that we've talked about the last 3 weeks. I think you're battling with a lot of schools for these guys. Now, I have said that I do believe you're going to get one of the Big Four. If you were to get two, I think that it would show that LSU is more on the playing field than people are giving them credit for. I also told you that it's of my belief this wasn't just a Bo Davis thing in reference to getting players in here, and it has not been. Blake Baker, Brian Kelly, etc., Kevin Peoples, etc., Bo Davis, etc. Everybody has to be on hand. Guys like Sherman Wilson and others have to be on hand to get guys here, and they have been. I do hear some really good things coming out of the Williams camp in reference to just how the visit is going. Now, you remember when Williams visited when Orgeron was still here and him having them as a pretty high school. I will continue to say it because it's the most question or the biggest question that I get every single day. Blake, where does LSU stand at that position? I do think that they sit well for both of them. You got to close. And LSU, since Barrow has left, has not kept or not let off the gas, if you will. They've been pedal to the metal, trying to get multiple guys here. I hope that I'm wrong. I think you're going to get one of the big four. I don't know who it is at this exact moment. I think you get one of them. I pray to God that I'm wrong and will love to come out here tomorrow, or would love to come out here on Thursday and say, guys, I didn't think you would be able to pull it off, but you did pull it off. But I do think that we have to look at everything that's in play here. Here's number one of what's in play. Texas also needs interior defensive linemen. So does the University of Miami. And those are going to be the two schools for Barrow, that Miami, and Williams, Texas, that you're fighting up against. Now, both of those schools are not as in dire need at that position as you are. What I will tell you, and I told you this literally a week ago today, and will continue, things needed to be more organized. At the end of the clip or the segment that we posted, I told you that I do believe things are getting more organized, and they are. NIL opportunities being spoken about, playing times being spoken about. But those are the two biggest things. There's nothing else going on here when you talk about the portal. I do like Williams. I like Barrow. And I hope that you're able to get both of them. How do I feel about them at the current moment? I don't want to say that any team has a lead for any of them, and I do believe that if anybody says that somebody has a lead at the current moment, they are guessing and lying to you. And I feel that if you were to ask anybody on that staff, they would tell you the same. Let's see what happens after Williams leaves LSU. I do like that LSU is his last visit. But they're battling. And I really do pray because, and I will continue to tell you this, it's the same, almost the same conversation we're having every week, just a little bit of an update. I feel good where you sit. You just got to finish the deal. Those two young men, and you know, if you've watched the show enough, you know that I don't like making blanket statements when it comes to specific things on, hey, if you do this, you're going to be a playoff team. However, if you are to get two of them, or maybe even just one, I do feel that and do feel more confident that you can get there. Like I will tell you, I think that you are a couple of interior defensive linemen away from being there. And that's where you sit. So, all in all, I think that Barrow really likes LSU. I think it's coming down to you in Miami. And with Williams, I do believe it's going to be coming down to Texas and LSU. I told you this on Ruffino and Joe show. I told you this here. I will repeat it. There is a thought in Miami that they have a team talented enough to win a national title. I know that you're laughing right now. I didn't say that I agreed with it, even though I do think that they do have a very talented team. Not only do they have talent and playing time that they're selling, but they're also doing the deal that they need to get done when it comes to NIL. It's going to be an interesting week, and we will be here for it. I do feel confident. Not overly confident. So I'm not going to give you a percentage. I have no idea. I think that those percentage things are stupid. You know, like last year, I remember telling you when Weston Davis committed to Texas A&M, I remember telling you that, okay, I don't care what 247 on 3, Rivals, ESPN, none of them. Watch how Brad Davis is about to cook. And you know, what's the guy who does the salt on the Wagyu steaks? I mean, basically, you could say that Brad Davis is the ultimate chef. When it comes to high school recruiting, I will stay in the same thought. Look, what LSU has cooking with this high school recruiting class is about to start being special. Now, I think that they're going to go through this portal. Now, the portal does close tonight at midnight. I think that you are going to, as a school, wait until it is closed. Here's a good thing. Some of the players that maybe we thought that were going to enter the portal have not. They got, let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 7 more hours before they can enter the portal. You're starting to get the makeup and the shape of what your team looks like. Now and after that is over, I would expect there to be a little break unless somebody wants to commit. And then, start of May, start of June, this, when LSU holds their Bayou Bash, things will start getting moving again. They aren't stopping on the trail. And I hear you a lot. Blake, it's been really quiet. Blake, it's been really quiet. Blake, it's been really quiet. I know it's been quiet. But just because it's been quiet doesn't mean that they're not moving. They have been moving. So stay tuned in reference to that. The only other note that I would add is Louisiana on July the 1st enacted a bill where the schools will be able to pay players legally. The school will. How do I want to do this? Stay tuned, because things could be getting very interesting very quickly. And I don't believe that Scott Woodward likes to lose. All right. Let me get to this because we got baseball we need to get to too. It made me think about this and why I wanted to add it into LSU's or this show instead of Rufino and Joe. So tomorrow, and I've been prepping on this, as you can see, Blake's little handy-dandy notebook here. So I've been already prepping for offensive line, which we'll be talking about tomorrow on the Rufino and Joe show. And Will Campbell is going to be my number 1, and Emory Jones is going to be my number 3, probably. Will Campbell for sure will be number 1. Guys, I don't think – how do I want to start this segment off? It is of my opinion that the best overall offensive line in the SEC resides in Baton Rouge. I've hinted at it. I've talked about it. You and I have talked about it. You put in some comments. We've discussed. I said, well, you're replacing a center. Well, let's just see how things go. There were some times last year you couldn't run in the interior against Florida State. Well, those guys are going to be bigger, faster, stronger than they were a year ago. Guys, Emory Jones and Will Campbell have a very strong likelihood that they could be top 10 picks this time next year. And I look at that and say to myself, and you're probably going to hate this, you're going to have to find ways to lean on them. What do I mean? Look, if your defense is not going to be overly improved, what you have to do is lean on your biggest weapon. It's what Brian Kelly did at Notre Dame. And I think that they will. Guys, you arguably, actually not arguably, you do have the best tackle duo in the country. It's not really a debate. And I do think that you have gotten better because of experience at both guard positions with Frazier and Deli. Here's one thing that I want to mention. There was something that we saw in the spring game that I think got unnoticed, that everybody kind of glanced over and over again. Did you notice how many times Will Campbell and Garrett Dellinger pulled in the spring game? Guys, that's the base stuff that they're running. Base. They're not showing you everything. I promise you they're not, because we were out at scrimmages when they were showing you other things. I do think that this running game is going to be fine. You're replacing Jaden Daniels, and you're not going to have arguably the explosiveness that he brought to you. You know, outside of Caleb Jackson, I don't know how many times you're going to have 45-yard runs at a blink of an eye to turn an entire game around. Now, Caleb Jackson 100% can do that. But, you know, the biggest question that we've had about this offense was, how do you replace Jaden Daniels in the running game? I don't think you're going to have a problem in doing it. You have 4 guys that now are going to be bigger, faster, stronger, and you have a better center in DJ Chester that will be there. Guys, I really, really like what I'm seeing from this group. I went back and watched the all-22 from them, not only in the spring game, but was given some stuff, you know, just from the spring. And I will tell you, they are getting push, and it's not necessarily – and, well, Blake, the D-line sucks. Okay, that's true. But even if this D-line were average, or I went back and watched A&M, that D-line wasn't average, and they still got serious push. You got to lean on them because, guys, not only – and I'm going to say this with a lot of confidence because I fully believe it. Not only do I think that this is not just the best offensive line in the country, I think that I could make the argument that this is the best unit in all of college football. And if it truly is, if it's going to be an award-winning offensive line, you might have to slow some things down and continue to utilize them. I still wish you would have gone after another back. Hopefully Trey Holly is back. It looks like you're not going after another back, so that chance maybe has closed. I will say I do like what I see. It is what it is. All right, before we get out of here, very quickly, this week from LSU Baseball, we'll be live this weekend. We'll be doing the post games. I just want to see that the fight like there's no tomorrow, man. Fight like there's no tomorrow. Because if you do that, you might shock the world and beat a team you have no business beating. Gonna have the game tonight. We'll be watching it. I know you will be too, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm really interested to see who they throw. Do they throw Anderson? Do they start Anderson in back-to-back games? That's going to be interesting. I wonder what Jay does there. I want you can't play as sloppy as you have been. You just can't. You can't coach as sloppy as you have been either. So I think you're going to win tonight, and then the season on the line coming this weekend. I mean, it is. Guys, you got to get 6 wins in 3 weekends. 6 wins. That means you cannot – if you lose a series, that means you got to sweep the next one. And I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if you can sweep Ole Miss. I don't know. I don't think you can sweep Alabama. Regardless, let's take it to him, man. Take it to him. Oh, yes. Yes, I will mention this too. Did y'all see this? I've been seeing a lot of people are using their draft grades like A+, B+. And I've been seeing a lot of like content being published in reference to people saying that the Saints had an A+ draft. We understand what it means to have an A+ draft, right? When in 2017, when the Saints had an A+ draft, you had Lattimore, you had Trey Hendrickson. Who else was in that? Alvin Kamara, Ryan Ramczyk. Bona fide starters, bona fide dudes. That's an A+ draft. The Saints did not have an A+ draft. I think Ford, the linebacker from Texas, is very underrated. I love Kool-Aid McKinstry. Even though he was at Alabama, I know LSU fans used to get mad. I love Kool-Aid. I think it's a good corner. I know he was hurt. Let's see how his foot does. Fuaga, I thought Fuaga in big moments didn't show up to the billing. I thought he was a little heavy-footed. You drafted a right tackle. What does that mean about Ryan Ramczyk? So, look. I'm not saying they didn't have an A+. Oh, and you drafted Spencer Rattler, a guy that is not going to start, or we don't think is going to start for the next couple of years. Stop the cap. I think you had a good draft. I think you had a B+ draft. I don't think you had an A+ draft. You didn't have a 17 draft. Not even close. Spencer Rattler is not going to come in here for New Orleans and light it up. He's not. Come on, guy. Y'all have watched too much college football to know. He's not going to come into New Orleans and light it up. So, yeah. Adam says Javen Coleman starting tonight. Good point. Probably would. That's a good point. Coleman would probably go. I like that. I like it a lot. All right. Let's get to a couple comments in before we get out of here. Cole Adams says, please, sweet baby Jesus, tell us we got one of the top 3 DTs. And yes, Quincy Wiggins, come on home. I can't tell you that because it's not happened yet. But no one has either one of the top 3. Nobody. I'm really interested to see what happens with Tyler Barron. I mean, I know a lot of people think he's going back to Ole Miss, and that might be the case. Let me think. I'm gonna leave that alone. Nobody knows where the top 2 or the top 3 are going. I think that we have a pretty good idea of the 4 or the 3 teams that are involved. You just so happen to be involved in 2 of them. The CJ West thing, like guys, I told you that from the beginning. You were like, CJ West is coming here, and I'm like, I don't know that. Maybe they circle back, maybe they don't, but he hadn't been here. I think they have focused their mind in on 2 guys, and if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then you got to go on down the line. So we'll see. We'll see. Is LSU making a deal with Williams? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Just saying. I mean, I'm sure that they are. I mean, just like everybody else has. Just like everybody else. Tyler Johnson says Deion will be gone after next year. I have a feeling. I think he will be too. I think he will be too. All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Y'all have a good one. Peace out, Girl Scouts. See you guys. Peace.